So hello everyone, and welcome to the App Action session, and of course the DroidCon London. My name is Eliza Camber, and I'm a senior Android developer at Explicity. It's a creative tech agency in the Netherlands and in New York. I'm a Google developer expert for the conversational AI and the Google Assistant, and I also love traveling for events and conferences like this one. So this is paradise for me right now. Are you excited for being here? Yeah? All right, if you want to follow along with the presentation or if you need the slides for whatever reason, this is the link. I'm also going to tweet about this, so if you want to grab a photo now, otherwise you can find it on Twitter. And let's start. So I'm not going to say the whole invocation for your own sake, but I'm pretty sure that you've all heard commands like, hey G, send me directions to Nick's house, or okay G, start my run, and commands like this. You've probably already used them, well, some of you as well. But did you know that you can make your own application to actually fulfill requests like this one? Today's agenda, first we're going to make our way through some terminology. So there are a few terms, key terms that we need to identify first. Then we're going to see how we can create our app actions, and why we actually need app actions, how to build them, how to test them, how to publish them, and finally, how to migrate from an older API that you might have been using. Oopsie, sorry. And hopefully we're going to have some time for questions. I have 102 slides, so bear with me. To be able to dive into the app actions, first of all, we need to understand some terms, as we said. So the first term that we're going to see is the virtual assistant. The virtual assistant is the bot that will reply to you every time that you say, okay, G, or hey, S. So the last few years, they've seen a tremendous rise in the usage that they have. And from wearables to tablets to laptops, to phones, to even bathtubs, whatever device you want, it's there, and it's there to listen to whatever command you have. And the Google Assistant in particular, it's available in over 1 billion devices. But the Google Assistant, or for that matter, any virtual assistant, can't do everything. And for that, we have the conversational apps. So the conversational apps are the way that the virtual assistants enable the developers to extend their functionality. The conversational apps that we've built for the Google Assistant are called actions. Not app actions, just actions. Conversational actions are to fulfill your user's request by enabling you to have a two-way conversation with your users. So with the diagram over here, when you request an action, the Google Assistant will get the intent of the user, or what the user says. It determines the best action, and then it will invoke your action if this is relevant. And from there, the action will manage all the rest. So from greeting the user to ending the conversation to fulfilling every user request. And where do we create, though, those conversational actions? So we create them on the Actions on Google platform. So far, we have the virtual assistant, which is the bot that will reply to you every time that you say the magic words. Then we have the actions, which are the apps that we create for the Google Assistant. And finally, we have the actions on Google, which is basically the developer platform where you build and manage your actions. Now that we know these differences, let's go to the app actions and what the app actions are, but most importantly, why we actually need them. The truth is, it's tough out there. Most of the phones nowadays have a sea of app icons. And it's very hard as a user as well to remember what the app icon looks like, or even the naming of the app icon when you want to do something. And the numbers can speak for themselves. Like a whopping of 56% of the users that download the application won't ever use it again. And in the span of the 3 days, that goes up to 77%. And as you can see over there, it doesn't really come without a cost. Not just the time and everything else that you've invested over there, but there is actual cost like over there as well. What we actually need is a new model that will focus not on what icon the user should tap on, but rather than the action that they want to fulfill. And this is where the app actions come. The app actions are basically a simple way that they allow the Android developers to use the Google Assistant in order to fast forward into your application and with just a voice request. Let's see how. So let's see if we wanted to order something, how many taps do we actually need? So for this example, I am going to use the S'mores and S'mores app icon, app. So first of all, we need to find and remember, most importantly, the app that we want to have. Then we will select the cracker. We will select the marshmallow, the chocolate. We will indicate the toast level, how many we want. We will review this. And finally, we can wait for our order to come. And this is 8 steps for something as simple as ordering a 3-ingredient snack. Can we do better? Let's see. So first of all, we naturally invoke the Google Assistant. Hey G, I want this. In this example, I want to order marshmallow toast with milk chocolate, well done for S'mores and S'mores. The Android application will open up with already all of your parameters there, and it's going to open up in the review page. And you're done. That's it. That's all that you need as a user and as a developer in order for your users to make all the actions that they need. So let's see how that works though. First of all, we have the user that will say like, hey, order me this. The Google Assistant will process the user's request by using natural language understanding, or NLU for short. And the assistant will then figure out what the user is trying to do or what they are saying. Then the app is going to be triggered, and it will also take all the data for you to fulfill the order. And that's it. But that NLU process has basically 2 steps. The first step is to determine what the user's intent is. And in order to do that, it will match it with the app intents that you already declared in a shortcut.xml file, which lives into your resources folder. And then it will extract the parameters using that shortcuts XML file as well. And finally, it will open up the application, deep linking into your content. So let's see how we can build, test, release, and finally migrate our app actions. Well, we're going to start, of course, from the building. And for this example, I am going to use a simple to-do application. And first of all, we need to identify what the user should be able to do inside our application. Like, is it a gaming app? Does it have a leaderboard? Is it an ordering app? Should you only order, or should you track your orders as well? So these are the actions that you will have to identify first before starting to build anything further. For this application, for our simple to-do application, we are going to basically have 2 capabilities. So you will be able to say, show me my active tasks and show me my completed tasks. A key concept in machine learning and in NLU in general is intent matching. Intent matching loosely means that you recognize speech patterns and then you match them to an item that you've already declared. And the assistant has support and has identified over 60 of those intents or speech patterns, and we're calling them built-in intents. So the built-in intents are maintained language models that they are supported by Google, and you don't really have to do anything else for that. Some example, so the built-in intents, we also call them BIIs for short. And some of the BIIs over here that we have, like their transportation, like create a taxi reservation, to open your app feature, to create a call in general. they apply to the majority of the applications. Like there are so many that I'm pretty sure most of the times you're going to find something that will accommodate your app's needs. But what if you have a use case that is not part of those? Well, for that you can create custom intents. And custom intents work very similarly as the built-in intents. But since there is no speech pattern over there supported by the NLU that the Google Assistant provides, you will have to do everything yourself. If we have time, we're going to see how. But in general, it's highly recommended to use the built-in intents because natural language understanding is not that simple. So trying to maintaining everything yourself is not going to be something easy. The easiest way to start over here is with common built-in intents. And these are over 10 intents, and they handle, well, common intents. One of them is the Open Up feature, and the Open Up feature will allow your users to open one feature of your application with all the data over there, as we saw in example before. And this is like otherwise that it would be very difficult to find, or it would require too many steps, as an example. So going back to our to-do application, what we want our users to be able to do is to say, hey, G, open to do and show me my active tasks. And also to show me my completed tasks. And this will open our application, and it will already be in like a filtered view of just the tasks that the user required. But how does the Google Assistant know what are the active tasks? Like, this is not something that all of the applications have. Like, what is the action, the active task? For this, we use the inline inventory. And inline inventories are like lookup tables. So they express the variety, they express a variety of the user requests. And then we just get one of those varieties, we match them to an identifier, and then we have our unique identifier that we can then use for our intent to open our application. And let's see how. So first we have, hey G, open my to-do and show my active tasks, the user request. We then, like the assistant will match this to the open feature, and this is the built-in intent, and it will extract the active tasks as a parameter or as a feature. And then in our inline inventory, we're going to look this up. We are going to return a unique identifier. In this case, it's the active. And finally, we're going to fulfill this with a capability. So we've identified already for our example application that we want the Open Up feature, and that we are going to have in our inline inventory two parameters, like the active and the completed. So we then need to add our shortcuts.xml that we said before, and of course the capabilities. This is an example of the shortcuts.xml and how it looks like. So first of all, we have the shortcuts tag over there, and inside there we have the capability. And the capability, as you see, there is an Android name. And that Android name is the built-in intent that we're going to use. Now we have the Open Up feature. And then we have the parameter. And as we said, the parameter, it's like in our case, it's going to be like the active tasks and the completed tasks. But for the Open Up feature, it's called feature. And then we are going to link this feature to the feature param name, like the key that we want. So within the shortcuts tag, we have a shortcut. And this is going to be for each type of the feature that we want. So we first create the shortcut for the active tasks. And this is the identifier that we saw before in this. So this is the active identifier that we have over here. And after that, it will include the capability and it will bind it to the capability that we saw before, again, with the Open Up feature. And finally, we are going to bind our parameters as well. So we bind first the capability, then we bind the parameters. And here we have the feature, and we also have the synonyms for the feature. And the synonyms is something as simple as this one. So just how the user can request the active tasks otherwise. So this was for the active, and then we also have the completed ones. So we do exactly the same for the completed tasks. And now we have a Google Assistant that knows what our terms are, like our features. So it knows what the active tasks is. It knows what the completed tasks is. It knows that we want our users to be able to fulfill this by opening the app. But what does it do afterwards? Like, where does it go? Well, we also need our intent. So inside the capability, we also have the intent over there. And for our intent, we use the package name and then the target class, as we would do with any normal intents. And the parameter that it's within the intent is the same one that we've used before. So the feature, we just map it to the feature.param, and this is going to be the same. So the naming over there is very important. And this is how we will then get it into our fragment. So we have the feature. The feature is the name that the Open App BAI has. We map it to our feature param, which is the naming that we have, and then we just get it over here into our intent extras. All clear so far? Yes, maybe? Yeah? Okay, cool. So, great. That was one of the static shortcuts. There are, though, some of the cases that just the static shortcuts are not that good. So you may need, for instance, your user to go into places, like deep link into places, into your application that are determined from past actions. For instance, if you have a note-taking application and you want it to open up in that node, that's not something that you can just say to open up in that node and we'll take it there. So for that, we need the dynamic shortcuts. And dynamic shortcuts just let the user jump into more personalized content. So in our application, we are going to use, we're going to allow the user to create their own to-do task with just using voice request. So we are going to get this time, to use this time the get think BAI, and we're also going to create a dynamic shortcut with that because we want our user to be able to search for that without, we don't know already the task name. So here's a capability for the get think. And very similarly to the open app feature, we also have the name and the key over here in the parameter. And for the get thing, the naming of the parameter is the thing.name. So in the previous one, the naming was feature, and this one is thing.name. These are all in the documentation, by the way. And then for the key, how do we map it? We use just Q from query. And then we just get it from our extras as we did before with just using the queue. But in order to push dynamic shortcuts into the Google Assistant, we also need first to have those two libraries. So there are two dependencies over there. The first one is the Jetpack core, and the second one is the Google Shortcuts. We're then going to use the shortcut info builder. It needs some labels over there, like the short label and the long label. These are all going to come from the user, basically. And finally, we are going to bind it to our capability. This is the get thing capability, the parameter name, which is the thing.name for the get thing. And finally, we are just going to push it by using the with dynamic shortcut from the shortcut manager compat. And that is for the building as well. So how do we test that? Because we haven't tested anything yet. Like, we've made all this. We have no clue if any of this works. So there is a Google Assistant plugin on the Android Studio. So first we download this one. You only have, of course, to do that once. And then we can finally, after it's installed, try our application and see if it works. So Google Slides has this awesome feature that it will default to this tiny, teeny thing. I hope it's now fixed. All right. So we are going to create our preview over there. We are going to select which BAI we want to test. We are going to write over there. So we're going to test the active right now. And as you can see, the application will come up with the filtered view over there. So everything works. Yay. All right. So for the releasing, there is actually not something extremely special. There is just one thing that you need to be extra careful about, and this is to accept the Google terms under the pricing and distribution. So this is just for the Google Assistant, and also it doesn't affect the review of the Android application by any point. So no matter what this is, when it's approved, it's going to be available for the users as well. And that is for building, for testing, for releasing, and let's go to migrating now. Before the Shortcuts framework, did anyone use it? Like before that? No? All right. So I think that I can actually skip that. Just for the record, there used to be an actions.xml file. So now we have the shortcuts.xml file. There used to be an actions.xml file. It's still supported, but it's like if you're starting now, I wouldn't recommend starting from the actions.xml. I'm pretty sure that it's going to be deprecated at some point. It's so nice that I can skip those. All right, so since we didn't see that, we do have actions sometime for the custom intents. And as we mentioned before, custom intents are not very recommended to be used, but there are some cases that they can't be avoided. And for this, you will need to have your own speech patterns over there. And for creating a custom intents, first of all, we start the same. So we create a capability, we have the Android name over there, and for this one, it's the custom intent name. So as we said, for like the get thing, for instance, this is the custom intent name. But then we also need the query parameters. How is the user going to initiate this thing? So let's say that I have an application that is called Fun Bake, and we want to create cupcakes. So this is not something that you can do by just saying, okay, G, make me cupcakes. That's not something that the BAIs will actually going to support. So what we need is a custom intent. And first, we need to have a lot of simple queries that are going to look like this. So start making something like cupcake. Craft 10 cupcakes and stuff like this. And then we are going to go to the parameters. And for this one, we have here the number of items and the item name. So we set all the parameters over there. And again, we have the name, the key, but also we have the MIME type over here that we can support as well. All right, I know it has been long, but before rewinding everything, I would like to take any questions now. No questions? Yes?
I was wondering, how does it decide which app should accept the intent if you've got multiple apps
So how it works is that you will actually have to say, okay, G, start my run on this application. If there are multiple, for now, I don't think that it will open anything, to be honest. It will just get confused, or maybe it will show you a few actions. Not quite sure. Um, but how it works is that you do have to say the name of the application for now. I think that the point in the whole thing is going to be to eventually not have the name. But yeah, for now it works like this. Yes. Are they going to extend to get more options? To have more built-in intents, you mean? More built-in intents. Yeah, I'm pretty sure because like they're like the whole thing is quite new to the market. So I think that in the future, and if they will see that there are more speech patterns that they can accumulate, I'm pretty sure that they are going to support more. But like now, I think that there are over 60. So this is a really good start. Yes. The app actions, I think that it's only in English. I'm not 100% sure though. I can check it out for you after the talk.
So I have a lot of questions, but let me ask you one thing. So the point is, what happened, for example, of other devices with Google Assistant? Imagine I have one speaker in my home or whatever. So how we can extend these functionalities to the speakers and not say only, in my phone, where is my food or my order or something like that?
Yeah, that you do with the conversational apps. So this is the first part that we saw at the beginning. The conversational apps are how you extend the application of the virtual assistant.
Okay.
And that example, like the Google Assistant. The app actions is how you extend your own application in order to use the capabilities of the Google Assistant. So those are two different things. You can do both. If you have, for instance, like a framework that it will just query where is your order, then you can have like a simple conversational app that built on the actions on Google platform, and it can just track your order. And then on your Android application, like if the user uses this one, then you can actually show where exactly it is, like if you have a map, for instance, and stuff like this.
Great, thank you.
More questions? I do have, yes.
Sorry, thanks for the talk. I was just wondering, like, how do you surface these actions to your users? Like, and say, like, we have this capability.
Like I think the same that you do for all the features that you have in an application. Most of the times you will have just release notes or maybe like a nice window display for new features. I don't think that there is a better way right now. Yeah, so it's basically up to the developer how they want to promote that and show it to the user. But also the Google Assistant, something that I forgot to mention is that when you create dynamic shortcuts, the Google Assistant will proactively suggest that you can create, like to the user, that they can create that shortcut if, of course, it's contextually right at that point. Yes? Okay. So first we saw what the Google Assistant is, we saw what the actions is, we saw what the actions on Google is, and finally we saw what the app actions are and how they actually work. And as we said, first the Google Assistant will take the query, it uses the NLU, depending on what you want to do with that NLU, you either use the built-in intents or you're using the custom intents here. And you also have how to fulfill that order. So either with the static shortcuts or with the dynamic shortcuts, depending on the content that you're trying to get available to your user. And finally, we saw how you can build that using the shortcuts.xml. We saw how you can test that using the app actions, the Google Assistant tool plugin. We saw how you can release that. Basically, it's just like any other application, just accept the terms. And we didn't see the migrate, but that's fine. So thank you very much. These are some resources that you can have a look at. And if you have more questions, I'll happily take any. Thank you.